Hey guys, welcome to today's video where we're going to be making these cool beginner coin rings. They require a couple of specialty tools like a ring mandrel and a bench vise, but other than that, they're relatively easy to make and they turned out great, so I hope you guys enjoy this video. The first step is to mark the middle of the coin you want to make a ring out of. You can do this by holding a marker against the coin at a fixed height and rotating the coin. This will create a circle around the middle of the coin that'll be really helpful for finding the exact center of the coin. The second step, which is optional but really helpful, is to eyeball the center of the coin using the circle that was just made. Then you use a punch to mark where you think the center is. Step 3 is to secure the coin in a vise. If you don't have a vise, this one was $30, so they're relatively cheap. I tried doing this without using a vise and it just didn't work. Step 4 is to use increasingly larger drill bits to drill out a hole in the center of the coin. I used 1/16 to 3/8 inch drill bits. Remember that the larger you make this hole, the thinner your ring will be. Step 5 is to break your own drill bit. Basically what happened is I pressed a little too hard when I was trying to get through the pilot hole and it snapped the bit off. Luckily I was wearing safety glasses, which you should always be doing when you're using power tools. Basically the way to avoid this is just don't press too hard and don't try to go too fast when you're drilling your holes through this coin. But other than that, I just finished off the pilot hole with my next largest drill bit and continued on. Drilling out the holes was interesting because sometimes the drill would take a minute to get through the coin and sometimes it would just go through almost instantly, which I had to be aware of, otherwise I would have snapped a couple more bits off. A cool thing I noticed was in the video as I was drilling through the coin, there were some waves in the footage and these waves diminished as I was almost all the way through the coin and then went away when I went through it. I made sure to vacuum the chips off the coin as I went along, and I had some paper towel down to catch the ones that fell to the floor, because I really didn't want any of these chips finding their way into my foot. This clip illustrates the wave effect I was talking about earlier really well. You can see as I get towards the end of the bit going through the coin, it just completely goes away and there's no waves left. Using the bigger bits generated a lot of vibrations because they just weren't going through the coin as easily. I'd have some better footage of it, but apparently I didn't think to go and get another small table to set my camera mount on because I'm not as bright as I think I am. Using the 3/8 inch bit generated so many waves in the footage that it almost looks like I'm filming underwater. Finally on to step 6, which was to use a deburring tool to remove all of the burrs from the hole in the middle. You got to make sure to get the burrs from both sides of the coin, because if you leave them there, you risk cutting yourself when you're wearing this as a ring. Once you're done deburring it, it should be smooth enough to run your finger back and forth on and you shouldn't feel any burrs. The 7th step is to anneal the coin. This removes all of the stresses that have built up in the metal from the drilling of the hole. When you're doing it, all you really do is you take a torch and you heat up the coin. So for that, I'd recommend using a much better torch than what I did because my torch was kind of crappy, and also don't do it outside on a windy day like I did because it kept blowing out my torch. This is what the coin looks like when it's starting to get close to being done. So after you start seeing this on the side that you're annealing, flip the coin over, hit the other side with the torch until it starts to look similar, and then you quench it in water. Step 8 is to find some scrap wood and clamp the coin in between it. You want to put the side that you want on the inside of the ring facing up. Then you place a ring mandrel into the hole in the middle of the coin and you begin hammering the ring mandrel through. When you go to hammer the ring mandrel through the coin, make sure you don't hammer it one way too much and bend it like I did here. and I'm going to pretend that I did this on purpose so that I could show it as an example, because it'll bend it so much that it can't bend in the other directions, because basically what you're trying to do is get the ring to fold all the way around the mandrel in every direction. If you do overbend the ring like I did, the first step to fix it is to re-anneal the ring, just to get all of the stresses that have been generated inside the metal out of it again, so it'll bend easily back to how it was. After you're done annealing it, you gotta quench it again to cool it off. After you've re-annealed it, you just flip it over and put the ring mandrel into the hole on the opposite side of where you had it before, and then hammer down again on top of your scrap wood, and this will flatten the coin back out. After you've got it mostly flattened back out, then you can flip it over again, put it so that the side you want on the inside is up, and then keep hammering, making sure to rotate this time so you don't hammer too much one way. Keep hammering for a little bit, making sure that if one side of the coin starts getting a little bit too bent, then you focus on the other sides. After you've hammered for a while and the tip of the ring mandrel starts to go through the hole in the middle of the coin, it's time to re-anneal the coin again. After annealing, it's back to hammering again. One thing you gotta watch out for while you're doing this step is that your mandrel, as it goes through the coin, is sticking out the bottom. Make sure you're not just pounding your mandrel into the cement below. Basically what I did to fix this was, just as I started to go through more and more, I put bits of plywood underneath my scrap wood, so it held it up higher so there was room for the mandrel to go through the coin. Keep repeating this hammer, anneal, hammer, anneal, hammer, anneal cycle until your ring is the size that you want it to be. It's a good idea to know what size your finger is that you're making the ring for. A note on this is you obviously can only make certain coins into certain size rings. A dime can't be made to be gigantic. Step 9 is to flip the coin around on the mandrel and hammer it so that the narrower side is your desired ring size. You'll notice that as you went along, one side is quite a bit bigger diameter than the other, just from how the mandrel is sloped. You want the smaller diameter side to be your desired ring size. Step 10 is to roll the mandrel along a flat surface and hammer the ring into a completely round shape. A workbench is ideal for this because I used a concrete slab and that just kind of roughens the outer edge of the ring, but if it's all you have, it works. If your ring was starting to look a little bit square as you bent it into its shape, this is the step that fixes it and makes it round. At this stage, we're done making the ring itself. You can see it's done, it's round, it'll fit on your finger, but it's a little bit grungy, so the next steps aren't absolutely required, but they're to polish up the ring and make it look a lot nicer. The first polishing step is, if you have a rotary tool and just some general purpose polish, take it, use the polish up the ring. If you don't have a rotary tool, this can easily be done by hand as well. Make sure you don't over polish it at this stage though, because some of the black left behind will really highlight all of the text and the numbers and stuff that's on your ring. The second and last polishing step is to give the ring a quick scrub with acetone, which is nail polish remover, to make sure that it's fully clean and all of the polishing compound and any other dirt, dust, and grime is off of the ring. Don't go too crazy though, because again, you want to leave a little bit of the black behind to highlight the characters on the ring. There you go. This is a great way to make a relatively quick and easy coin ring. They turned out great. Everyone I've shown mine to seemed to really like them. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.